What's the word, Harrisburg? My name is Matt Maisel. Hispanic Heritage Month runs September 15th through October 15th, and one of the crown jewels, at least in the Harrisburg area of Hispanic Heritage Month, is the Pennsylvania Latino Convention. We are hosting it at the Harrisburg Hilton from September 20th through the 22nd, and the person who's running that show joins us right now on WHBG Channel 20. Norman Bristol Cologne, thank you so much for coming in studio with us today.
No, thank you for having me.
So the Pennsylvania Latino Convention, describe it in the most simplistic terms, exactly what it is, what's going to be happening here in Harrisburg from the 20th through the 22nd.
Well, beyond being a big fiesta, because, when Latinos get together, we're always, it's a big fiesta. It's a gathering of the minds. It's a gathering to really bring the professionals and the leaders of Pennsylvania to address the most important issues impacting 1.1 million Latinos in Pennsylvania.
What are those main issues, would you say?
Well, when it comes to education, how are the schools where Latino students attend? Are we supporting them the way we should? When it comes to health, how accessible is the healthcare for Latinos in Pennsylvania? Immigration, economic development. We are investing in small business development, but are those investments really touching the Latino community? So it's a lot of issues that are connected to Pennsylvania's future, but in this case, we're going to look at them from the Latino lens.
One of the things, and I guess perfect segue, you mentioned the Latino lens of how people are viewed, how events are viewed. I've heard you say on more than one occasion that the world is looking a lot more like me today. And by me, I mean you. You've said this. How do you take that when you have the Hispanic population, which is growing by the day, especially in Harrisburg, which is now about a quarter Hispanic and Latino? How do you kind of take that and change the message, if you need to, over time from where it was 6 years ago to where it is today on the 6th Latino Convention? How has the message changed over time?
Well, it's changing dramatically because, when I moved to Pennsylvania, there was about 300,000 Latinos. Today, we have 1.1 million. So Latino Pennsylvanians are vital to the present and to the future of Pennsylvania in every single sector and in every single industry. So as an imperative to ensure that there is strong Latino development, I think that the message now is we are part of Pennsylvania, we are here to stay, we are here to collaborate, and we are here to build.
And so much of it starts in a place like Harrisburg, which is the capital. You have the Capitol building down the street. You yourself are involved on the day-to-day, appointed by Governor Shapiro to lead diversity efforts throughout the Commonwealth. You worked at DCED doing this stuff with DEI. There's more Hispanic lawmakers today in the state legislature than ever before, and they're going to be part of this. What's the message to them? What's the message to the state lawmakers, the people who write the bills? What needs to change the most to impact the Latino community most beneficially?
Well, I think that we need to have a policy-driven agenda that, independently of who occupies the seats in the House and in the Senate, or even the governor's office, that we have a policy agenda that is clear about building the Latino future. A Latino future that embraces education as the passport to the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of this community. A policy-driven agenda that look at healthcare and say, we need to be more inclusive, and we have to ensure that equity in the workplace is the norm, not the exception. So when we are dealing with policymakers, it's about them creating a policy that cannot be challenged by the status quo, but rather be the law of the land when it comes to including Latinos in every single aspect of Pennsylvania life.
The Pennsylvania Latino Convention, September 20th through the 22nd, going to be held at the Harrisburg Hilton. Where can people go for? I know you're still getting tickets. Tickets are still available. Where can people go to get those tickets?
Well, they can visit the PA website, but for the residents of Harrisburg and surrounding areas, when we start the convention on September 20th, is with the Pennsylvania Latina Women Conference. It is at the State Museum, 2 to 5 p.m., and that event is free for every resident to attend. So they don't have to register for that event. Now, for the convention on the 21st and the 22nd, you need to register to attend some of the main events. But we have an expo that is free to the public. So everybody can attend without paying or without being registered. In addition to that, a lot of the workshops, we have about 50 workshops and seminars and panels that are going to be free to the public. So they can come to the Hilton, attend, and participate in the workshops. Now, the main events, they are ticketed events.
Sure, but that's awesome. I mean, the fact that there's going to be a lot of events that you don't have to pay anything, you could just come by. You mentioned the word fiesta right off the jump, and how there's going to be workshops and important things are going to be discussed, but it's going to be a party.
It's going to be a party.
Give people a sense of what this type of fiesta is going to be.
Well, on Thursday, when our last workshop is going to be murals and margaritas. So it's going to be a tour of the beautiful
Perfect.
murals of Harrisburg. And if you're a resident of Harrisburg and you haven't done a tour of the amazing artistic, scenery of the city, this is an opportunity for you to do that. So they're going to start at El Sol restaurant with a margarita, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and then continue to see the beautiful murals of the city of Harrisburg. But then after that, around 6 p.m., we're going to bring what we call Navidades in September, or Christmas in September. And it's going to be Christmas caroling, parranda, Sawyers. So we're going to have an outdoor Christmas in September event for everybody to enjoy. Beautiful music, and the music that we are going to bring is the typical country music of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands when it comes to Christmas. So it's going to be a lot of fiesta and a lot of celebration. And then on Friday night, we finish and we end the convention with the Pennsylvania Latino Gala with a live salsa band, DJ. It's going to be an amazing fiesta for the city of Harrisburg.
That sounds like so much fun. Again, PALatinoConvention.com for more information on that. You mentioned a second ago the authentic, music from Puerto Rico, which is where you are from, came here to the mainland in 1992, Lancaster County. What do you remember from that time 30 years ago, as an American citizen, but in a different landscape and coming, you want to talk about night and day. Lancaster County back in 1992 is not the Lancaster County that it is in 2023. What do you remember from that time?
Well, it was difficult. We had the language barrier, and even though Puerto Rico has been part of the United States for more than 100 years, we are still treated as second-class citizens. So it was a cultural shock because I came from the island. We were all Puerto Ricans, and now seldom I am labeled as a Latino. I was never called a Latino in Puerto Rico because that is not a thing in the island. So it was a way, I think, that prepared me to do the work that I do today, because I experienced personally so many injustices. Just because an individual speaks with an accent, people judge and think that they are, that they are dumb and they are not capable of doing the work of any job and in any industry.
You must not be American.
Exactly.
But clearly you are, and you have made your name and your career through education. A lot of work with Millersville University, a lot of work with the School District of Lancaster. You mentioned how so much of the Latino Convention is going to be about education. What does education, what type of education, and what does education just in general mean to you?
Let me tell you, for the first time in the convention, and because you mentioned at the beginning that the city of Harrisburg is growing so much when it comes to the Latino community, and especially after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, you have a lot of young Latinos attending the schools in Harrisburg. So the convention this year, for the first time, we have a Young Latino Leadership Institute, and we will have 50 students from the School District of Harrisburg attending the convention, and they are going to be equipped to participate in so many workshops. But a lot of them are through the Pennsylvania Hispanic College Fair. So it's preparing them to let them know that college is an option, that education is the passport. We cannot level the playing field unless you get an education. And by getting an education in any area and in any colleges or university in Pennsylvania, they will be able to compete, not only here, because that is my mission in this life, that they will be able to compete with kids in Maryland and Delaware, but also with kids in China and India. And the only way to do so is by getting an education, and that's why the priority for the young kids attending the convention is getting all the information needed to prepare for the future.
Are these high school kids?
High school kids.
High school kids that can are old enough and mature enough to take the information and hopefully turn around and use it in real world settings once they move on past this convention?
Absolutely. And I think that they're going to be ready to conquer the world. I think that I was influenced at that age because as a young Latino that moved to Pennsylvania, I attended a similar conference, and those Latinos that I didn't see in the school district of Lancaster, or that I didn't see at Penn State University, but suddenly I was in a room with a bunch of them, and I said, "Man, they are making it. There's an opportunity for me, as well to make it in Pennsylvania."
I guess that's part of why something like the Latino Convention is so important, is to let young people see that there is greatness to be had with people that look like me or that sound like me. Is that kind of where you're viewing this from the lens of?
Absolutely. Is to make sure that they see, for example, the Commonwealth CIO, the Chief Information Officer, for the very first time a Latina. Not even a Latino, a Latina, breaking barriers as a woman, but also, when it comes to race. And I want to see, for young girls to see her and say, wow, that means that I can be the top tech professional for Pennsylvania state government because she's doing it today. You
mentioned the state government, and you yourself have been involved with state government going back to the Rendell administration. Now here you are basically headlining all diversity efforts throughout the Commonwealth appointed by Governor Shapiro last year. Or rather this year, I guess. What has that role meant to you to be able to kind of now go throughout the state, throughout the Commonwealth, and leading up efforts of DEI in areas all throughout Pennsylvania?
I think it is the result of the nation changing. We have more diverse Pennsylvania than ever before. 1.4 million African Americans, 1.1 million Latinos, about 600,000 plus Asian and Pacific Islanders, 500,000 individuals that identify themselves as members of the LGBTQ community. If we are in the business of delivering a service to all, we have to embrace diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And this is a great opportunity for us to build a Pennsylvania that really values everyone, respects everyone, and a Pennsylvania that is about the future. We are not exempt from what is happening around the nation. The numbers that I share with you are Pennsylvania numbers, but I can also share the numbers at the national level. When you have 65 million Latinos in the U.S., 48 million African Americans, 25 million Asian and Pacific Islanders, all together, that community is more than 100 million Americans. And if we are not ready to work together with them, independently of the industry, who will suffer? The nation will suffer, but also ourselves and the industry that we are going to be representing. So diversity, equity, and inclusion now becomes the epicenter of making sure that we are moving the U.S. forward and not backwards.
And DEI is going to be on the forefront here in Harrisburg in just a couple weeks, September 20th through the 22nd at the Pennsylvania Latino Convention. The man who is running the show, who's graciously taken a few moments out of your very busy schedule, Norman Bristol Colon, the chairman of the Latino Convention. Thank you so much. Again, where can people go for more information on Latino Convention tickets?
Once again, PALatinoConvention.com.
Norman Bristol Colon, that's the word, Harrisburg. Thank you so much for joining us here on WHBG Channel 20. We'll catch you next time here on Channel 20.